Hello everyone, welcome to or welcome back to Ships, Boats and Anything That Floats. Kind of renamed my channel a little bit to Ships, Boats and Floats, just makes it a little bit easier to search. But today we are in the city of Discovery, home of the Silvery Tay, and recorded as Scotland's sunny city, the city of Dundee. And it's certainly living up to its reputation. But we're not here for the Silvery Tay and we're not here for the weather, we're here for this ship sitting right behind me, the RRS Discovery. So that's RRS Discovery. It was built here in Dundee 1901, ready for water. It set sail for the Antarctic with Captain Scott and his crew for the first expedition to the South Pole. A few interesting facts about the boat is that it was built by the Dundee shipyards here because they had a wealth of experience with regards to building boats for the whaling industry in the 1800s and early 1900s. So they knew how to build a boat that was going to last in extreme water conditions. So it was built in 1901. It was the last ever wooden hull boat that was built in the UK. Now, another interesting fact is it actually has a coal-fired steam engine as well as a propeller. Now the reason they had the coal-fired steam engine is to help it get through the ice. So if you can imagine, this is the ice and my rope control here is the boat. So when it comes to the ice, it would actually go up on top of the ice and then come back down and break through the ice that way with the weight of the hull. So the steam engine would actually help push the boat up onto the ice, and then the weight of it breaks the ice. Now the other interesting thing about it was that it actually has a rudder and a propeller that's able to be taken out of the water. Now, the two main reasons for that is one was maintenance and repair, and the other one was to save it from getting damaged from the ice. Now the mast on the boat, which is the one in the middle, the biggest one, which has a crow's nest on it, is 34 metres high, and the crow's nest is at 33 metres high. So you can imagine trying to climb up there in really rough weather. You can see the barrow. I don't know if you can see the barrow on the top, right at the top there. If I angle it back a little bit, you might be able to see it. But that's the crow's nest up there. So be a brave man to get up there. Now I know that RRS Discovery do tours. You can actually climb the mast. Not for me though. So that's the mast. Now a boat like this, which doesn't look that big, once we got on board you'll see that there was around about 50 members of crew on here. So that would have been made up of about 36 crew members and petty officers, about 11 officers and about 5 scientists. So a crew of this size, 50 on this boat, it would have been a bit crammed. So thanks to Julie at the Dundee Heritage Trust, I'm actually getting access to the boat and the museum today. So I'm really looking forward to this. I hope you enjoy it. I'm not sure what to expect, to be honest. I've never been on a boat like this. It is in a dry dock, so it's no longer floating, it's in a dry dock. But they did spend about £3.5 million on renovations of the boat. 2024 I think it was. So it has done a bit of work to it. Once we got on board you'll be able to see a lot more. So what I'll do is I'll put a few more facts with regards to the boat and the crew. So everyone will probably know or heard of Captain Scott or Scott of the Antarctic, but this boat is more than about just one person. Unfortunately, Scott of the Antarctic, or Captain Robert Falcon Scott, died on the ice, but it wasn't when he was on the Discovery. The Discovery did the first trip in 1901 to 1903. Scott then came back to the UK and actually found, with the research that he had done, that there was a magnetic South Pole. So he went back on the Terra Nova in 1910 to discover the South Pole, unfortunately he was actually beaten to it by Amundsen by 34 days. So although he did make it to the South Pole on his return journey back to the Terra Nova, he unfortunately died on the ice along with his colleagues. So that was in 1920. About 2.5 weeks just before the Titanic was hit by a block of ice and sank, obviously. So he died on the ice with his colleagues, and the bodies were found along with his diary documenting everything that had happened on the expedition. So unfortunately he did make it to the South Pole, not in time to be the first one, but he did reach his goal, but unfortunately, like I say, he died on the ice. But thanks again to Julie and the Dundee Heritage Trust and all the staff here. But we're going to get on board now. We'll have a look at the museum as well. We're going to be doing something a little bit different when we get on board. I've been asked not to video the whole interior of the boat. So what we'll do is I won't be speaking through that commentary. What we'll do is I'll do a bit of a voiceover, and then we'll put that up, and hopefully that'll work out okay. Haven't really done voiceovers too much, so hopefully that will be okay. But let's get on board, let's enjoy what's going to happen, and let's see the history of the RRS Discovery. I'll see you on the boat. See ya, bye. So I put my drone up, so while the drone's flying around I'm going to give you some interesting stats on the boat. So it is a wooden hulled auxiliary bark measuring 172 feet or 52 metres long with a 33 foot or 10 metre beam. It was propelled by a 450 horsepower steam engine and also the sails, reaching a top speed of 8 knots. So the complement was 11 offers and 36 men initial British and national Antarctic expedition. The original cost of the boat is £51,000. In today's money that is about 4.1 million. So the RRS Discovery was a bark rigged with 3 masts, a fore, a main and a mizzen. It features a total working sail area of 12,296 square feet. Sails were the primary mode of propulsion during its polar expeditions to conserve precious coal supplies for heating and auxiliary operations. There was around 350 tonnes of coal on board. The hinge funnel, the ship's steam funnel, featured a special designed hinge base. It could be laid flat on deck to clear space when large specialty sails were rigged for the main mast. Now for the sails, the bark rigging square rigged sails on the fore and main mast and fore and aft gaff rigging on the mizzen rear mast. So as the drone flies over, you can now have a clear view of the crow's nest. That's at the top of the mast. Like I said before, it's 33 metres high, and I'd be a brave man to be able to work on that. So this is where the voiceover commentary is going to start. For some reason my microphone didn't want to work, but anywho. So in front of us we have 2 small buildings. This is basically the toilet block. So there's 1 toilet for 11 officers and another toilet for the rest of the crew. So round about on average 11 officers for 1 toilet and about 20 for each toilet after that. So you can definitely see that they're not flash, and they're called cuddies. Now as you walk past the toilets here, you'll see the anchors on the left hand side. So they have fairly large anchors. I'm assuming you're reading the cuddies sign there, but there is the anchors, and you'll see some sheep arriving here. Now New Zealand actually gave them 55 live sheep for mutton and stuff for taking on board, and once we got on board, there's not an awful lot of room. So this is the rudder. This is the removable rudder that can be taken out of the water to prevent damage. Now you can see it's actually quite badly damaged, so this is the original rudder and it's getting restored. So So we'll head on board now and we'll go along this gangplank. Now the interesting thing about this ship is it doesn't have any portholes on the side. Now generally portholes were to let some light in, and what you find on this ship is when you see some portholes, you'll see they're actually on top. So this structure here, the yellow steel beams, they're being used for helping for the restoration of the back of the ship. And that's why the rudder is sitting out on the dock. And this is the mast at the back, not quite as big as the main mast. And as we walk along here, that's the funnel for the steam engine. We'll have a better view of that later on in the video, with the main mast in the background there. Again, better view later on in the video. So these are some of the portholes I was talking about on the right hand side here to let light into the decks below. And as we walk along, you'll see portholes on the floor as well. But that's the main mast. As you can see, that's where the crow's nest is up there, 34 metres high mast with the crow's nest at 33 metres. So as we walk along here, you'll see some portholes on the ground. And there they are. Now, they are called mushroom potholes or ankle bashers. I think you can understand why they're called ankle bashers, because it would be so difficult to work on this ship and not bash your ankle against these. And they're all over the main deck. Not a very good design, I don't think. And you can see all the rigging and what people had to climb up to get up to the top of where the crow's nest is. So the main mast is 34 metres high and the crow's nest is 33 metres high. So that curved pole there, that's what they attach the rowing boats to. And you'll have a better view of the rowing boat at the further in at the end of the video. So we'll walk along here. There's a couple of rooms on the right hand side which we will go into. This is the front mast. This is where they actually do the mast climbs. There was 3 instructors when I was there, and I think there's 2 up there at the moment. So they climb 84 feet for the mast climb, and they don't climb back down again. They actually zip line down, which would be fun. Certainly more fun than climbing up it, I would think. And as we walk along here, there's more portholes to the left, and because of those portholes I completely missed the bell. So don't worry, we'll get to it. We'll go inside and then I'll notice that there is a bell outside, and we'll come back outside again and have a look at that bell. So as we enter here, this is the chart room. This is where they charted their journey to the South Pole. So these are lanterns. Now they possibly provided heat as well as light. So that's the charts they'll be using. So no technology on this boat. This is the technology of the day. Remember, this is in 1901. So head back outside and we'll go and have a look at this bell. Now unfortunately you can't ring it because there's no ding or donger in it. SS Discovery, London 1901. So the bell was made in London, but the ship was also was obviously made in Dundee. So I head around the corner here, round to the left. And on the left hand side here is the biological laboratory. Now what they may have done is they may have caught some local wildlife and did some research on them. As you can see in the photograph, they're dissecting something on there. They may well have eaten some of that as well, but I think they had plenty of provision on the boat anyway, so I'm not sure if they'd eaten any of that stuff. Maybe they would have done for research, but I wouldn't want to take the chance of getting a dodgy stomach on a boat like this. So there's plenty of portholes you can see up above, but there's none on the side. So we'll head outside. These are more portholes letting light into the officers' mess down below. You'll see the dining room table, but we'll have a better view of that later on in the video. We're going to head up here to the bridge. This is where they steered the ship from. So this is where the steering wheel is and the compass, and also the controls for the steam engine. So you've probably seen on quite a few movies, steering wheels like this. Now when you're on the boat, please do not try and move that steering wheel. You'll just damage the boat, please. So please don't try and move it. And on the right hand side here, we have the controls for the steam engine. That's another rowing boat holder, should we say. So this is the steam engine controls. Full ahead captain, slow captain, I'm sure you've heard of these in the movies. And another smaller steering wheel, I'm not sure what that was for. And this is the compass, the original compass. This is the technology of the day. And that's the front mast, and that's the instructors making their way down to go and get the brave people to go and climb up it. Now on the right hand side and also on the left hand side, there's a place where you can actually do some spotting, which basically means that they can actually look down the side of the vessel to see if we're cutting through the ice or not, or coming into dock. So that gives you a better view right up the side of the ship. And there's one on the left hand side as well, as you would expect. And this is where we'd had some of the charts and some paperwork while they're outside. And again, that's another view of the main mast. And that's the sign to tell you please do not turn. So we're now inside. This is where the steam engine was. Some of the coal would have been stored here, but that's a replica of the steam engine, what it would have looked like. Also, it's not the original. And here is where it gets real. This is where some of these guys worked, and it's really difficult conditions. I would not have liked to have done his job. And here's the guy stoking the furnace. Again, the amount of heat coming out there. Down below, very little ventilation. And this is the boiler room. So as we head around, this is the bosun store, where you can actually get some spare parts, ropes and shackles and blocks and tackles and stuff. So I went for that. And this is where the ship is built in Dundee. So that's in construction at the moment, which was mainly made up of oak, along with other types of woods. And this is some kind of store. Now I'm not going to be videoing the whole entirety of the inside of the boat, so there's quite a lot I'm missing out, just to keep you more interested to want to come and have a look. So these are the salt boxes. The salt was used to keep food fresh, I believe, or preserved. So as we head through here, this is the galley, this is where all the cooking was done. As you can see, for 50 people, it's not exactly huge. So they've done it in stages. And as we head around here now, when I looked into this door, I actually got a bit of a fright, because I actually thought there was someone, a real person standing in here. So you see that in a minute. But this is the sick bay on the left hand side, so the sick bay was right next to where the food was getting cooked. So there he is. They actually got a bit of a jump when they actually looked around. I actually thought that was somebody real standing there, but this is the sick bay. And this is where the crew would have sat for their meals, and that looks like stretchers attached to the wall as well. So as we head through here, this looks like some sort of office. This will be a scientist's office or scientific office. And here is the main mess room for the officers, and this is where their rooms were as well. So as you can see, it's quite plush. And this is Captain Scott's room. It'll be the best of the lot. I'm only going to video this one, all the rest you can come and see for yourself. So that was the inside of the RRS Discovery. I hope the voiceover works okay. But what we'll do now is we'll go over to the museum and we'll have a look to see what the museum has got. But there's probably a better view of the funnel from the steam engine. So this is the dry dock that it sits in. I reckon if it was still sitting in salt water, I think it would have fell apart. But you can see what the salt water's done to it. The paint's all peeling, the wood's all rotting, and even the steel hull is looking a bit worse for wear. But it's good that they're spending the money on it to restore it. And on this side, towards the stern of the boat, you can see just how much rotted away it is. It would definitely been in bits if they hadn't spent any money on this. Really good that they're spending the money on it. Let's get into that museum. So this is one of the boats that would have been on these shackles up here. So that would have been used if they were still in water to get themselves to land, or can be used as a lifeboat, I would assume. But generally when this boat stopped, it stopped because it was stuck in ice. So this is us now inside the museum. I'm just doing a quick voiceover for this. I'm not going to do a voiceover for the whole entirety of the museum. If you need to pause the video and zoom in on some of the video that you can do, but I want you to come in and enjoy this for yourself. So I haven't actually videoed an awful lot of the museum, so please come in, and I do recommend that you do come and see this museum. It's very, very interesting. Now when I saw this exhibit, the first thing I thought of was, my god, is this the stuff that they use for cutting off body parts that are frozen? But it's not. It is actually tools that are used for either repair and maintenance on the boat. Now for me, this is one of the most important exhibits in the museum. Like I said before, the Discovery was more than just one man. It was all these other people. So you had other officers, warrant officers, petty officers, marines, civilians, seamen and stokers. So these are all the really important people for the boat. The whole crew were important. Now the skis that you see here, you don't really get a true sense of the size of them. but they were probably about 9 feet in length. When I come back to them again, you'll see a better idea of how long they were. I mean, they were massive. So that is the RRS Discovery in the museum, and really enjoyed that. It was good to see that. Originally from Dundee and never been here before, so it was good to get on board and have a look through the museum, and hopefully a piece of history that will never disappear. So thanks again to Julie and the staff for allowing me to do this. I hope you really enjoyed that video. There is more to come, but please like and subscribe if you do like this, and have a look at my other videos on the channel as well. There's some different ones on there. I'm trying to cover as many different ships, boats and anything that floats as I can. But please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. See ya, bye.